Hello and welcome everybody, I am Brandon, and we got a buttload of Ghostwire Tokyo news to talk about today. We haven't really gotten to see much of this game yet, so it's pretty cool that we're finally kind of getting a look at what we're going to be doing throughout this title. We're going to take a look at everything from story to gameplay, and even a little interview with the developers. We got all that and more on another episode of Game Corner. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what I do, please like the video, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll stop wasting your time. So like I said at the end of last week, we got a new PlayStation State of Play all about the upcoming Ghostwire Tokyo. It's a new game coming out of Tango Gameworks. It's that Shinji Mikami led studio that is owned by ZeniMax, who did recently get acquired by Xbox actually. So unfortunately, this is most likely going to be the last game we're going to see coming from Tango Gameworks on the PlayStation. As always, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Obviously, this is all kind of like pre-release footage, so some of it could change before the actual game comes out. What they have here is looking pretty solid though, I gotta say, especially for a game without a release date. I would definitely expect this to come out this year, maybe like later this year, fall, winter time. Anyway, moving into the demo, the whole demo is recorded in 4K and 60 frames a second. I have a feeling that they upsampled it to 60 frames a second because there's almost no way that it was running at 4K and 60 FPS with ray tracing on the PS5. I mean, I'll totally eat my words if it ends up coming out and that's the case, but I almost guarantee we're gonna see like a fidelity mode and a performance mode with this game. That being said though, there is a gigantic emphasis on animations and particle effects going on in this game. The first thing you obviously notice is the protagonist's hands wildly flying around the screen and casting spells. It looks really cool, I gotta say. One of the things that stands out to me is how different this looks from a lot of other first-person shooters you see right now. I hate to even call it a shooter. Obviously, you know, you're aiming and pulling a trigger, so at a certain point you are shooting your spells, but it just sort of has a different feel and look to it that you really don't get from any, you know, modern shooters right now. Obviously, with a huge emphasis on casting magic spells instead of using guns and stuff like that, it really does look like a whole different experience that you'd expect from a PlayStation exclusive. I absolutely adore the setting too, the whole modern day Tokyo thing with the mix of the, you know, Lovecraftian psychological horror elements going on just totally speaks to me. Reminds me a lot of something like World of Horror or Junji Ito's Uzumaki. That all being said, they seem to be taking a lot more of an action-adventure focus with this game. They mentioned multiple times throughout this state of play and the interview at the end that they aren't actually making a horror game. I imagine they want people to understand what they're getting into, especially with Shinji Mikami kind of being behind this whole thing. Obviously, he's pretty well known for making survival horror games, and it seems like this isn't really what that is. Obviously, it has a lot of horror elements, and it does seem like there are kind of linear sections of the games that take like a almost Silent Hills PT-esque take to it. But for the most part, it's an open world. You're going to be traveling around, fighting monsters, and I imagine collecting new powers and goods. And from there, the gameplay seems to kind of boil down into two different areas. You have your close combat, action-oriented gameplay, magic spell casting sort of stuff, and then you also have gadgets like a bow and traps you can set. So it sounds like if you want to go more of like a stealthy route, you're going to use your traps and your bow and use those core grabs, I think is what they called them. I imagine the enemies have some sort of spiritual core inside of them and you break that to kill them or something. And then if you're more of like a, you know, lone wolf, just get in there and wreck some shit, you can go in there and start just casting spells and, you know, blocking and countering all their attacks, I imagine. The fun doesn't stop there though. It seems like they've really taken transportation and travel into the whole equation here. Not only is there kind of like a light parkour system that lets you kind of, you know, grapple onto ledges and climb things, but it also seems like you can actually use a grappling hook, a spiritual grappling hook, to kind of grapple onto these Tango or yokai up in the sky, and those kind of allow you to travel around the city and get to higher points and stuff like that. The one thing I did notice is that the story might leave a little bit to be desired. Obviously, I can't really get a good idea of like the overarching thing that's going on here. They really didn't delve into that much. That'll probably be what we see next from this game, is some sort of story trailer, I imagine, that's going to flesh out like what you're going to actually be doing throughout the course of this game. But from what they showed, it does seem maybe a little bit light on the story elements and really heavy on the world design, the enemy design, and the gameplay mechanics. And honestly, that's fine with me. It kind of reminded me of like Far Cry or maybe even like Dishonored or something like that. And I really love that kind of game design, that open-ended, like give you all the gadgets and tools to kind of go in and tackle these situations how you want to. Like I mentioned at the beginning though, it is a serious bummer. This is going to be the last thing we're going to probably end up seeing from Tango Gameworks over on the PlayStation. Obviously, Xbox bought ZeniMax Studios a while back, which included Tango Gameworks and Bethesda Studios, stuff like that. And they haven't officially said it, but we can be pretty sure that if they spend $7 billion on all of this stuff, that it's probably going to be an exclusive on Xbox. Who knows, maybe we'll end up getting lucky since Tango Gameworks is more of like a third-party studio. Maybe they'll be like, oh, we can, you know, toss it over to PlayStation, whatever. Anyway, pretty excited for this title. I gotta say, this looks right up my alley. I really love the world and enemy design. It all really speaks to me. Once again, giving me a very like Junji Ito-esque feel. And obviously that open world experience really speaks to me. I do love me a good Far Cry, and it even kind of reminds me of Dishonored a little bit. We're gonna have to wait and see more, but we can rest easy knowing that there is a yokai cat that runs a bodega. So that is really cool. Anyway, that's about all the Ghostwire Tokyo news I got for you guys today. Definitely let me know what you guys think of this game down below. I was pretty excited to see this game finally come up, and I'm hoping we get a release date soon and some more story elements here. Anyway, I'm Brandon. This is Game Corner, and have a kick-ass week.